Good morning, all of you children. Today we will continue with the other part of the, you can say, other half of the story. Yes, we know now Pritam Singh is about to reach that place where the quarry we are saying. Okay, let's see now what he is doing. Pritam Singh pressed hard on his horn again because he loved doing that, so he was doing it again to let people at the site know he was coming. Okay, he was just letting people know that look, I'm approaching this place. Soon they were parked outside a small shed. Shed means the shelter place. There was a shelter place which was made, and in that shelter place, who were sitting? Where the contractor and overseer were sipping cup of teas. Sipping means drinking. Overseer is a person, beta, who takes care of the things, whatever the activities are happening there, whether the laborers are working nicely or not, whether the explosives, the people, whoever is responsible is planting it properly or not. Okay, so everything used to keep a check on. That is called overseer. A short distance away, okay, from that place, a short distance away, laborers were hammering at chunks of rocks. Chunks means big pieces of rocks. They have to be broken down into smaller pieces, otherwise they cannot be loaded in the truck. Yes, so they were hammering them down, breaking them up into manageable blocks. Manageable means one which we can manage to put it in the truck. They can be loaded and they can be put properly. A pile of stones stood ready for loading. There was a big pile of stone which was already piled up for load on in the truck. While the rock that has just been blasted lay scattered above the hillside. Scattered means it was lying here and there. Sorry. So what happened? Just now the explosives actually blasted off a huge piece of mountain. So that big pieces of rocks, they were lying here and there. But these laborers have already broken down these big rocks into smaller pieces which were blasted off earlier. So there was a pile of stones which was already hammered down, and now besides that pile there were big chunks of rocks which have been just blasted off. Okay, come and have a cup of tea, called the contractor. Contractor said, come on, but sit and just have tea with us. Get on with loading, said Preetham. I can't hang about all afternoon. Hang all afternoon? I cannot sit and wait over here all the afternoon. Why? There is another trip to make and it gets dark early these days. He was saying that come on, do it quickly. I have to come again for the another trip because these days the night falls early. But he sat down on a bench. Okay, but he sat down on a bench and ordered 2 cups of tea. He said no to contractor, but he sat there. Because meanwhile the laborers were loading the pieces of stones in the truck, he thought, why not Nathu and I have a cup of tea? So he ordered 2 cups of tea from the stall owner. The overseer strolled. Strolled means when you're walking. Okay, when you're walking, you're following somebody. Strolling means actually you're following somebody. So this overseer was going behind these laborers just to keep a check whether they are doing the work properly or not. The overseer strolled over a group of laborers and told them to start loading. Nathu let down the grid at the back of the truck. Okay, so what he did, he just put the grid down so that the stones can be loaded. Nathu stood back while the men loaded the truck with limestone rocks. He was glad. Glad means happy, that he was chubby. Nathu was happy. Look, I am very healthy. Thin people seem to feel the cold much more. So what did Nathu, because he was a small boy, small kid like you all. So he thought like, I'm very happy, I'm chubby, I'm strong. Look at this contractor. He's so thin, so feeble. He's feeling cold so much. A skinny fellow means who does not have much fat, very thin person, who was shivering in his expensive overcoat. Now this is sarcastic way of saying he was wearing an expensive overcoat. Still he was shivering because this man was very thin. Okay, now to keep himself warm, Nathu began helping the laborer with the loading. Nathu thought like, okay, I'll do some physical activity. I'll just keep myself warm. Why don't I help the laborers to load these pieces? Don't expect to be paid for that, said the contractor. Contractor said, Nathu, you are helping laborers, but I'm not going to pay for all this. For whom every extra paise spent was a paisa of his profits, means gone away from his profits. So this contractor thought for every paisa he used to spend. Okay, he was a miser sort of person. He did not love to spend money because that will go off his profits, means his profits will become a little less if he'll pay more. So he was that kind of person. Don't worry, said Nathu. I don't work for contractors. And Nathu was very, you can say, very easygoing boy. He said, oh, I don't work for contractors. I don't need your payment. I work for Pritam Singh. So he was very happy to say this. That's right, called out Pritam. And mind what you say to Nathu. He's nobody's servant. Now Pritam actually played here a role as a fatherly person. Okay, fatherly role. He said, contractor, please don't speak Nathu to this in this way. He's not your servant. He's nobody's servant. It took them almost an hour to fill the truck with stones. How much time did they took, beta? An hour to load the truck. The contractor wasn't happy until there was no space left for a single stone. What does this mean? He wasn't happy until there was no space, means he wanted that if he is paying Pritam to take the stones, he make it sure that his truck would be loaded, jam-packed. Not even a stone space should be left. Then 4 of the 6 laborers climbed up on the pile of stones. They would ride back to the depot of truck. Now these 4 contractors went along because they have to unload also. And they'll go downstairs. The contractor, his overseer and others would follow by jeep. So they will go by jeep. Let's go, said Pritam, getting behind the steering wheel. I want to be back here and then home by 8 o'clock. He said, come on, let's do it fast because I have to be back again for the second round and I have to reach home at 8 o'clock. I'm going to a marriage party tonight. Nathu jumped in beside him, banging his door shut. Okay, because he was very energetic. So he did it in a quick way. It never opened at a touch. Pritam always joked that his truck was held together with tape. That means the door did not open so easily. Okay, that's why he used to just crack joke that look, it seems as though my truck has been taped. Nothing moves from here or there. He was in good spirits. Who was? Pritam. Pritam was in good spirit. Okay. He started his engine, blew his horn and burst into a song as the truck started out on the return journey. So he was enjoying the trip every time. The laborers were singing too as the truck swung round the sharp bends of the winding mountain road. Winding means when it is going round and round in a sort of wind. Okay, this is the way the mountainous roads are. So he was singing his song and laborers were singing along with Pritam. Nathu was feeling quite dizzy. Dizzy means he was feeling a little sleepy. The door beside him rattled on its hinges. Hinges are joints. Okay, joints of the door. So, because he was driving so recklessly, so roughly. So what happened? The door was rattling. It was making some sound. Rattle means making sound. Not so fast, he said. Nathu said, please don't drive so fast. Oh, said Pritam, and since when did you become nervous about fast driving? Yes, Pritam said, you have been with me 6 months. For 6 months now. You're becoming nervous today? How come? When did this fast driving make you feel nervous? Nathu replied, since today. And what's wrong with today? Preetham said, okay, you're feeling nervous today, but what's wrong today? I don't know. It just that kind of day, I suppose. That kind of day means it sometimes happen with each of us. Yes, sometimes you can say a strange sort of fear develops inside. So similar thing was happening with Nathu. You're getting old, said Preetham. That's your trouble. Now Preetham started cracking a joke with him. Look, you are getting fear because you don't have any certain reason. You're getting old. That's why you're getting worried. Just wait till you get to be my age, said Nathu. Nathu was also doing the same thing. He was also cracking a joke. Okay, I'm become an old person. Okay, Preetham, when you will turn of my age, then you will come to know. Now, this is the opposite things which those people are saying. Nathu is very young compared to Preetham. But because Preetham said, Nathu, you are very old, he also said, okay, when you will be of my age, then you will come to know. No more cheek. No more cheek means no more jokes, said Preetham, and stepped on the accelerator and drove faster. As they swung round a bend, Nathu looked out of his window. All he saw was the sky above and the valley below. Okay, something happened here. Preetham just stepped on the accelerator, and as they just went through that bend, what happened? Nathu just looked out of the window and he saw the sky above and the valley below. What happened now? They were very near the edge. Okay, very near the edge of road. But it was always like that on this narrow road. Okay, on this narrow road, it was you can say a very normal thing because the road was quite narrow. So every time they have to go near the edge. After a few more hairpin bends, okay, hairpin bends means the bends were very, you can say very close and they were very narrow. The road started descending steeply. Descend means to go down, ascending and descending in maths, yes? Descending means to go down steeply to the valley. I will just test the brakes, said Preetham. He said, okay, let me just test the brake because I'm going too fast, whether the brakes are working or not. And jammed down on them so suddenly that one of the laborers almost fell off at the back. They called out in protest. So he was driving. First he put his leg on the accelerator and now on the brakes. So it happened almost suddenly. So this laborer almost fell, means he was almost thrown out. He was actually not thrown out, but he was almost, you can say there was a situation where we feel that he was almost out of that truck. So he was hanging a little. They called out in protest. Protest means when you are going against somebody's action. Somebody has done something wrong and you are protesting. Hang on, shouted Preetham. You are nearly home. Preetham said, come on. Hang on means just stop. You are about to reach your place. Don't try any shortcuts, said Nathu. Nathu said, please don't try any shortcuts. Go by proper way. Just then a stray mules mean the mule which was actually, you can say, who roam here and there. They are stray. Stray mule appeared in the middle of the road. Preetham swung the steering wheel over to his right, but the road turned left. Now here the mistake was done. Yes, he swung the steering wheels over the right, but the road was towards the left. And what happened? The truck went straight over the edge. It was almost over the edge. Can we feel that goosebumps now? I am feeling. As it tipped over, hanging for a few seconds on the edge of the cliff, the laborers leaped from the back of the truck. So what happened? As they were just hanging for a few seconds, the laborer leaped, okay, from the back of the truck. They just came out. The truck pitched forward, bouncing over the trucks. turning over on its side and rolling over twice before coming to rest. Now, this thing happened. It pitched forward, it bounced over the rocks, and then it goes over a side, and all of a sudden it came to a rest. Why? Because there was a scraggy old oak tree. Because of that tree, the truck came to a halt. Had it missed the tree, the truck would have plunged a few hundred feet down the bottom of gorge. So if this thing would happen, if the oak tree would have not been there, they would be fallen down into the valley. Two laborers sat on the hillside, stunned and badly shaken. They were afraid, beta. Anybody would, after such a situation. So they were stunned means they were shocked. And badly shaken, they were very frightened. The other two had picked themselves up and were running back to the quarry for help. They were going back to the quarry. They were asking for help. Nathu had landed in a bed of nettles. Okay? Nettles means thorns. It's written here, beta. So actually, some thorns prevented him not to fall down. He was smarting all over, but he wasn't really hurt. Okay, what is smarting? Feeling a sharp pain. So it was paining all over, but actually he was not, you can say, hurt. His first impulse means thought, was to get up and run back with the laborers. He thought, oh my God, I should get up and save my life. Then he realized that Pritam was still in truck. But what he saw, that Pritam was still in truck. He was not outside. If he wasn't dead, he would certainly be badly injured. Such bad that accident was that Nathu thought, if he is not dead, he would be badly injured for sure. Nathu skidded down the steep slope, calling out, Pritam, Pritam, are you all right? There was no answer. Nathu just went down the steep slope and asked. Then he saw Pritam's arm and half his body jutting out of the open door of the truck. So Pritam was lying there. Okay? Now, he was jutting out of the open door of the truck. It was a strange position to be in, half in and half out. Can we see in the picture here, beta? He was half inside and half outside. Okay? Now, when Nathu came nearer, he saw Pritam was jammed in the driver's seat, held there by steering wheel, which was pressed hard against his chest. So he was jammed on the driver's seat. He could not move. And his chest was lying against the steering wheel. Nathu thought he was dead. But actually he was not. Look what happened. But as he was about to turn away, as Nathu thought to move away from that place and clamber back on the hill, move back on the hill, he saw Pritam open one blackened, swollen eye. Blackened because there was clotting of blood. It looked straight up at Nathu. And what did Pritam do? He looked at Nathu. Are you alive? Whispered Nathu, terrified. He was very shocked. He was a kid. So he cannot actually hold himself after this accident. Such was a situation. Are you alive? He whispered. He could not believe. What do you think? Muttered Pritam. Pritam all in his way. He said, what do you think? I was dead. He closed his eyes again because he was actually subconscious that time. When the contractor and his men arrived, it took them almost an hour to get him to a hospital in the town. Remember, beta, two laborers went there to the quarry for the hill. They called up the contractor and the men, and they took him to the hospital. He had a broken collarbone. Now, this was the consequence of that accident. Collarbone broken, dislocated shoulder, and several fractured ribs. Such was the situation of Pritam. But the doctor said he was repairable. Repairable means but with time, everything will be in order. Which was more than could he be said for his truck. Same thing can be said for his truck after that accident. Because what happened? The trucks finished, said Preetham. Because actually what happened, beta, the accident was, you can say, so terrible that forget about man, even the truck could not resist that force of accident. The trucks finished, said Preetham when Nathu came to see him a few days later. Now I will have to go home and live with my sons. Remember, his sons lived in Punjab, so Preetham thought, my truck is finished, I cannot do that same work again, so let me go back to Punjab. But you can get work on another truck. So he said, Nathu, now you cannot work with me, so why don't you find somebody else to work with? Nathu replied, no, I'm going home too. And what will you do there? Preetham said, okay, you're going home, but what will you do there? I will work on the land. It is better to grow things on the land than to blast things out of it. And this is a very big learning. This line gives us a very big learning, beta. It means a lot. He said, I will work on my land because I believe it is better to grow the things, yes, on the land than blasting that land form. Yes, mountain is also a land form. So what happened? They were blasting and the mountains were shattering down. So he said, instead of ruining the nature, the property of nature, I should worship it and I should work for its betterment. They were silent for some time because actually such was a situation that both were thinking. Do you know something? Said Preetham finally. But for that tree, the truck would have ended up at the bottom of the hill. And I wouldn't be here all bandaged up and talking to you. Preetham realized after the words of Nathu, he realized really we should respect our nature because who saved finally Preetham? That old oak tree. Had that tree been not there, can we just expect the truck to be in a proper situation or can we expect Preetham to be alive? No. So actually nature saved Preetham whom they were destroying. It was a tree that saved me. Remember that, boy. So remember, my child, always respect and care for your nature. I will remember, said Nathu. So this was a beautiful story by Ruskin Bond, which gives us a message. Of course, we should take care of our nature. We should not destroy, rather we should conserve it. And of course, this message was passed by a very nice you can say story. Yes, I believe you would all have enjoyed the story. Learn what you can say lesson which is being conveyed by Ruskin Bond to all of us. Right? We'll discuss if any doubts you have in our class, or right now along with this video I'm sending you the assignment sheet. Do them very nicely in your notebook. Thank you, children.